My beloved child, come close for a moment, come close in spirit, in quietness, in attention. For what I am about to speak is not ordinary, and the moment you open this message, heaven leaned forward. I feel it like a warm wind across my spirit, a stirring in the atmosphere, the way the prophets of old felt the trembling of divine presence before a revelation. There is something on this message, something weighty, something fierce, something protected. My child, you were not supposed to scroll past this. You were not supposed to ignore it. You were guided. Heaven moved you. Something tugged your heart. Something whispered, "Look again." And do you know why? Because this message was blocked 3 times before it reached you. Not once. Not twice. 3 times. And yet, God, yes, the Almighty Himself, leaned down and said, "Let them see it now." The moment He said it, every barrier broke. My beloved one, listen, there are moments in life when God interrupts the ordinary, when He shatters the common rhythm of your day to send a whisper wrapped in fire. This is one of those moments. This message is not a coincidence, not a random video, not a chance encounter. This is divine appointment. You are standing in a holy moment disguised in simple words. Let me tell you what happened. 3 times. Listen carefully. 3 times Archangel Michael attempted to release this message to you, and each time opposition rose. Not earthly opposition, but spiritual walls, spiritual noise, spiritual interference. Think of Daniel in the scriptures, my child. When the answer was sent the very first day he prayed, but the prince of Persia resisted the angel for 21 days. It is the same pattern. When a message is meant to shift your life, hell fights harder. But then a moment came, I feel it even now, when the Father said, "Enough." Not softly, not gently, but with the kind of authority that makes angels stand straight and demons flee like scattered dust. Let them see it now. My child, that was the moment heaven breathed over this message. And when God says, "Let it be seen," nothing in the universe can hide it from you. Nothing can delay it anymore. Nothing can block it again. So hear me well. What you are about to open was meant only for you. Not for your neighbor. Not for the one who liked the post before you. Not for the one who will hear it next week. For you, your heart, your journey, your situation, your prayers, your cries, your unanswered questions. You might not know this yet, but something you prayed, something you whispered in the quiet, something you held deep inside you has reached heaven, and heaven has responded with urgency. But why you? Why now? Why this message? Because you have entered a moment where your life cannot continue in the same way. Heaven is shifting you. God is aligning you. Something is being broken off your path. Something is being delivered into your spirit. Something is being announced over your destiny. This message is not a motivation. It is a commanded revelation. My beloved child, when God says, "Let them see it now," it means timing has reached fullness. What was held back is now released. What was hidden is now exposed. What was delayed is now delivered. And I feel an urgency, not panic, but holy urgency, to tell you, do not take this lightly. Do not let your mind wander. Do not step away. Stay. Stay right here. Stay till the final word. Because every section of this message is part of a divine chain, and if you miss one link, the revelation will not be complete. You are in a sacred moment. Heaven is close. And this is only the beginning. This message, the very one that reached you now, traveled through that realm. Before it ever touched your eyes, it moved through atmosphere, resistance, darkness, and light. It passed through currents of invisible confrontation. And in those places, nothing moves freely unless heaven authorizes it. That is why I told you earlier that this message was blocked 3 times. Not because of technology, not because of human hands, but because of a spiritual battle that rose around it. My child, let me paint this picture for you the way the prophets saw it. There are moments when heaven sends out a word, and that word travels like a flame carried by an angel. But the moment it begins its journey, forces of opposition rise like shadows trying to smother light. They whisper fear. They stir confusion. They create distractions. They try to close the very path a message must take. Archangel Michael, the warrior of the Lord, the captain of heavenly armies, does not appear unless the matter is weighty. You must understand this. Messages of comfort, messages of encouragement, messages of teaching, these can be delivered by many angels. But when a message touches destiny, identity, purpose, and divine timing, heaven assigns a warrior. Michael himself steps in when the release of a word will alter the course of your life. There was a reason heaven chose him. My beloved child, you have been wrestling with questions that are not small. You have been fighting inside yourself, fears that cling to you, battles you cannot fully explain to anyone else, thoughts that come at night when nobody is awake to comfort you. Heaven has been watching you. You may not think your prayers were loud, but God heard every one of them. The unseen realm heard them, and the forces that stand against you heard them too. This is why opposition rose. Because the enemy knows that a person who hears the right message at the right moment becomes unstoppable. And you, my child, are approaching a moment where your spirit will break free from something that has held you for years. The enemy saw the shift coming before you did, and so it attempted to interrupt what heaven was delivering. 3 times the path was blocked. 3 times the release was resisted. 3 times the message was intercepted. But each time, Michael pushed forward again. You may wonder what these battles look like. They do not look like earthly wars. They are battles of command, battles of authority, battles of decree. In that realm, light stands against darkness. Truth stands against deception. Purpose stands against confusion. And when a message is meant only for you, that battle becomes personal. Angels fight with your name on their assignment. This is why you felt heavy recently. This is why your mind felt scattered. This is why you experienced strange delays, sudden discouragements, or a quiet sense of pressure in your soul. You were feeling the effects of a war you could not see. But hear this clearly. The fact that you are here right now means heaven won. The unseen realm shifted, the resistance cracked, and the moment God said, "Let them see it now. Every force that stood against you collapse." Michael did not deliver this message to you casually. He delivered it triumphantly. My beloved child, whenever God allows you to hear a word that was fought for, you must understand that the value of that word is beyond gold. It carries weight. It carries instruction. It carries change. That is why I am asking you to remain present, to stay with the message until the very last breath of it. The battle in the unseen realm has already been fought for your sake. Now the task is simply to receive. And I tell you this with a father's heart. What you are receiving now is not information. It is impartation. It is something being placed inside you that will not leave you the same. The war in the unseen realm was not just to bring this message to you, but to awaken something within you that had been lying dormant. My beloved child, let your heart remain soft as we walk deeper into this revelation, for what I am about to share now carries personal weight. You may not realize it yet, but there is a reason heaven insisted this message reach you. There is a reason God said, "Let them see it now," and not yesterday, not last month, not last year. Timing in heaven is never random, and neither is divine selection. When heaven chooses a moment, it chooses a soul along with it. And today, that soul is you. My child, do you know why this message carries such weight? Because it is tied to the very questions you have asked quietly, the thoughts you have buried deeply, and the long ache inside you that you rarely show to anyone. Heaven has watched you navigate seasons where you felt lost, seasons where your strength felt thin, seasons where you poured from an empty cup yet kept going anyway. You thought nobody noticed, but heaven did. Every sigh, every weary breath, every whisper, every prayer that trembled instead of shouted. It is because of those moments that this message was crafted. Not a general message for crowds, not a word thrown into the wind to see who catches it, but a message shaped to the contours of your journey. Heaven tailored it to the wounds you carry, the hopes you've stored, and the path you stand upon right now. It was meant only for you. Let me tell you this plainly, my child. Heaven has been waiting for the exact condition of your heart today. There was something inside you that needed to break open. Something that needed to be ready. Something that had to be positioned properly before this message could be released. You may have felt drained recently or unusually emotional, as though something within you was pressing, stretching, shifting. Those were signs that God was preparing you for this moment. You see, messages like this are not received with the mind alone. They are received with the soul. And the soul must be ready. There is a weight to divine truth, a holy heaviness, a power that cannot land on a hardened heart or a distracted spirit. Heaven waited for the moment your spirit was thirsty enough to absorb every drop. That moment is now. My beloved child, hear me. You are not hearing these words by accident. You're hearing them because something in heaven has identified you as ready. Ready to understand what you could not understand before. Ready to see what you were blinded to before. Ready to step into a chapter that requires maturity, tenderness, and courage. For you have grown, even if you did not notice. Your endurance has increased. Your discernment has sharpened. Your sensitivity to the whisper of God has deepened. Heaven sees all of this. There is something else I must tell you, and I speak it with the gentleness of a father. You have asked God privately, in your own desperation, why do I feel so unseen? Why does my life feel paused? Why do I not receive clear direction? You thought perhaps heaven was silent. But heaven was not silent, my child. Heaven was preparing a message that could not be released until the moment it would reshape you fully. That moment is unfolding now. The weight of this message lies not only in what you will hear, but in what you will become because of it. There is a transformation woven into these words. Your spirit is being stirred. Your inner strength is awakening. And whether you feel it yet or not, the veil over certain areas of your life is beginning to lift. The confusion will break. The heaviness will loosen. The clarity will come. Understand this, beloved. When a message is meant only for you, it means heaven has chosen to address you intimately. Not generally. Not vaguely. Not collectively. Personally. Profoundly. Directly. Heaven has reached into the depths of your story, touched the very threads of your destiny, and declared, it is time. And if heaven says it is time, no delay can stop it. No darkness can hold it. No confusion can cloud it. The message arrives with the full authority of God's timing. So listen closely to me now. The reason this message fought through resistance is because it carries the potential to shift your entire spiritual posture. There are decisions you will make differently after this. There are habits you will abandon. There are fears you will overcome. There are opportunities you will recognize. There are places within you that will finally heal. Heaven has placed a spiritual weight on this message so that it presses upon the exact areas of your life that are ready to break open into growth. My beloved child, you have asked heaven for direction. Heaven is answering. You have asked heaven for clarity. Heaven is releasing it. You have asked heaven for confirmation. Heaven is delivering it. You have asked whether God still sees you. Heaven is showing you that you were never unseen. My beloved child, draw your spirit even closer now, for what I am about to reveal is the heart of this entire message. You have heard that this word was blocked. You have heard that it faced resistance. You have heard that it was carried by Archangel Michael himself. But now you must understand why God waited, why God delayed, and why, in this exact moment, He finally said, let them see it now. My child, God's timing is a mystery to many, but it is always precise. He does not rush. He does not hesitate. He does not waste moments nor speak without purpose. When heaven holds back a message, it is because the ground of your life has not yet been prepared to receive it. But when heaven releases a message, it is because something in your life has reached fullness. And let me tell you something with great tenderness. You have just stepped into a fullness you did not even realize you were approaching. You have crossed an invisible threshold. A shift inside you has aligned with a shift in heaven. Where once you were wrestling, now you are awakening. Where once you were stumbling, now you are strengthening. Where once you felt scattered, now something within you is settling. God saw this moment long before you reached it. He watched your quiet transformation. He watched how you endured seasons that could have destroyed your spirit. He watched how you held on, even when your grip felt weak. He watched how you did not give up, even when your heart felt numb. Heaven saw all of this and said, "They are ready. Now they can receive what was once too heavy." My beloved child, do not underestimate what you have survived. Do not underestimate what you have overcome to reach this point. Heaven has recorded every tear, every silent night, every whispered plea for direction. You thought you were just struggling through life, but heaven saw a refining process. God was shaping your capacity. He was stretching your understanding. He was deepening your sensitivity. He was strengthening your spirit. And now, the moment your spirit became capable of carrying the next level, God said, "Now. Let them see it now." This is not a random time in your life. This is a turning point. You may not see it yet, but this is the moment your story shifts direction. This is the moment your understanding expands. This is the moment heaven's guidance becomes clearer. This is the moment the fog around you begins to lift. God waited because He did not want this message to come to you when you were too wounded to believe it, too distracted to hear it, too burdened to recognize it, or too tired to absorb it. He waited until you had enough strength to receive what He had stored for you. He waited until your spirit could hold it without breaking. He waited until your heart could understand it without fear. He waited until your faith could rise to meet it. My child, listen carefully. There are times when God delays revelation not as punishment, but as protection. If this message had reached you earlier, you might have questioned it, doubted it, or brushed it aside. If it had come in a moment of deep confusion, you may not have recognized its truth. If it had come while you were overwhelmed, you might have dismissed it. But now you are in a place where your spirit can finally hear what heaven has been trying to say. And there is something else. Heaven waited for this exact moment because something in the spiritual realm shifted recently. A cycle ended. A season closed. A door you did not know was behind you finally shut. You have entered a new alignment. The timing of this message is not just about your readiness, but about heaven's positioning. God said, "Let them see it now," because the assignment attached to this message must begin in this season. Not next month. Not next year. Now. Something ahead of you requires clarity. Something before you requires courage. Something is about to unfold that will need your spirit awakened, your faith sharpened, your ears tuned. Heaven does not release messages without purpose, and heaven does not fight for messages that do not matter. This message matters. It matters for your direction. It matters for your decisions. It matters for your healing. It matters for your calling. It matters for the next chapter that is already unfolding, whether you realize it or not. My beloved child, God looked at your situation, looked at the timing, looked at the alignment, and said, "This is the moment. No more delays. No more interference. No more resistance. Let them see it now." And the moment He said it, heaven moved. Angels shifted. Barriers trembled. Darkness scattered. And the message reached you. This is why you must stay until the end. This is why you must not drift away. This is not entertainment. This is appointment. Not a coincidence, a divine schedule. Not a mere message, a spiritual release. You are standing inside the timing of God. And when you stand inside His timing, everything around you begins to change. My beloved child, settle your spirit as we step into one of the most important revelations of this entire journey. You have heard that this message was blocked 3 times, but now I will reveal what those blocks were. And as you listen, you will begin to recognize the very struggles you have lived through. You will see that the resistance did not surround the message alone. It surrounded you, your destiny, and the divine direction attached to your life. The first block rose the moment heaven assigned this message to you. It was the block of distraction. My child, distraction is not always loud. Sometimes it enters softly, gently, weaving itself into your days without you noticing. It comes through sudden heaviness, unexpected delays, waves of discouragement, confusion of thought, or emotional fog. These were not random moments. They were attempts to keep you from being in the spiritual posture required for this revelation. The enemy hoped that if your mind was clouded, your spirit would be too. He hoped that exhaustion would blind your discernment. He hoped that noise would drown the whisper of God. But heaven watched you press on, and though your footsteps were shaky at times, you did not turn away completely. This weakened the first block. The second block was resistance in the unseen realm. This resistance was not aimed at your mind, but at the path of the message itself. There are times when heaven releases a word and hell rises to shut every door through which that word must pass. The atmosphere around you has been tense recently. You may have felt restless, uneasy, or strangely emotional. You may have sensed a pushback, even though you could not explain why. This was not coincidence. Resistance in the spiritual realm often manifests in the natural realm as inner turmoil. Heaven saw the tension, but instead of withdrawing the message, it reinforced the assignment. Michael fought through the resistance with the authority of the Lord, and this message continued its journey toward you. The third block was the most dangerous of all. It was timing. Timing can be a barrier when the heart is not yet ready to receive what carries weight. If this message had arrived too early, it might have slipped past you, falling into the cracks of your busy days, or it might have landed on your spirit when you were too wounded to hold it. Heaven protected this message by withholding it until your inner posture aligned with its purpose. What looked like delay was divine shielding. What felt like silence was protection. What seemed like heaven withholding was actually heaven waiting for you to reach a place where this message could transform you, rather than overwhelm you. These were the 3 blocks: distraction, resistance, timing. And yet, my beloved child, you are here, listening, receiving, because every one of those blocks has been broken. Heaven fought for you. God watched over you. Archangel Michael pushed forward for you. And when the moment was right, God declared, "Let them see it now," and the path opened instantly. But now, hear this with the Father's heart. When heaven fights this hard for a message, it means the message becomes a responsibility. You are meant not only to receive it, but to carry it, to protect it, to allow it to shape you. And more than that, heaven desires that this light not be hidden. There is someone else whose breakthrough may depend on the ripple created by your obedience. Someone else who will find hope through the message that is reaching you now. So as this section closes, I ask you with reverence and gentle boldness, do not conceal the light heaven has placed in your hands. When something from God reaches you with such intensity, it becomes a divine duty to honor it, to lift it, to allow it to breathe beyond you. If it rests in your heart today, then let it also flow from your life. Engage with this message, share it, and let your actions declare that you stand with the work God is doing here. Heaven sees such obedience, and heaven blesses it. My beloved child, let your heart feel the stillness of this moment, for what I am about to describe is sacred. There comes a point in a spiritual battle when heaven itself intervenes, when the authority of God breaks into the unseen realm with a force that cannot be resisted. You have journeyed with me through the blocks, the delays, the struggles, the attempts to keep this message from reaching you. But now it is time to understand the moment when everything shifted. The moment heaven opened. My child, when heaven opens, it does not do so quietly. It may feel quiet to you in the natural, but in the unseen, it is thunder. It is fire. It is movement. Angels align themselves. Darkness retreats. Atmospheres tremble. There is a kind of holy command that echoes across the spiritual realm, and it is unmistakable. That is what happened the moment God spoke the words. Let them see it now. You must understand that heaven does not open for trivial matters. It opens for matters of destiny. It opens for divine instruction. It opens for pivotal moments in a person's journey. And heaven opened for you. Not for a crowd. Not for a group. For you. Because what is being released into your life right now is part of the blueprint heaven wrote over your days before you took your first breath. My beloved child, when the Father issued his command, Archangel Michael stepped forward with a force you cannot comprehend. Imagine a warrior who has waited for the exact moment when the authority of heaven is granted. Imagine the strength of an angel who has fought through resistance and now receives the full weight of God's decree. That is what happened. Michael moved not as a messenger, but as a champion. The gates that resisted this message were shattered in an instant. What once stood in the way had no choice but to bow. And as heaven opened, something in the atmosphere around you shifted as well. You may not have understood it when it happened, but you felt it. Perhaps it came as a moment of sudden peace in the middle of confusion. Perhaps it came as a deep breath you did not know you needed. Perhaps it came as a quiet nudge, a sense that something was aligning, that something unseen was taking place. Those subtle signs were the ripples of heaven opening. Heaven does not open only to send something down. It opens to release clarity, protection, and movement. When God authorizes a breakthrough, angels are dispatched not only to deliver the message, but to clear the path before you. In that moment, barriers fall without your awareness. Oppression lifts without your effort. Confusion untangles without explanation. That is what you are stepping into right now. The moment heaven opened for this message, heaven also opened for you. My child, there are times when God sends help before you even realize you need it. Times when heaven makes adjustments around your life quietly, gently, silently. You have been surrounded by angelic activity without knowing it. You have been protected from things you never saw. You have been guided away from paths that would have harmed you. Today's message is only one evidence of heaven's movement in your life. There have been many others. Heaven has been active around you for far longer than you realize. But this moment, the moment heaven opened for this message, marks the beginning of something new. It signals that the season you have been in is breaking open. It signals that the waiting has served its purpose. It signals that the battles you endured were leading you to this point. When heaven opens, it does not merely release a message. It releases a transition. And my beloved child, you are in that transition right now. The very fact that this message reached you is proof that heaven has shifted something in your favor. What could not reach you before is reaching you now. What was blocked is now flowing. What was withheld is now being released. When heaven opens, nothing remains the same. There is more to this than revelation. There is movement. Something is moving around your life. Something is aligning. Something is preparing to manifest. This is why I need you to continue with me. This is why you cannot stop in the middle. What heaven is doing is unfolding step by step, and each part of this message is part of the unfolding. My beloved child, receive these next words with the seriousness of spirit they deserve, for we are stepping into a holy exchange. What comes now is not simply teaching, nor mere comfort, but a direct warning and blessing carried by Archangel Michael himself. Heaven is not casual about moments like this. When Michael speaks, the realm of darkness trembles, and the realm of light stands still in reverence. And today, this heavenly warrior has turned his attention toward you. My child, as heaven opened and the command of God was released, Michael took his place beside the message. He did not stand distant, nor did he release this word from afar. He came close, close enough for your spirit to feel the weight of his presence. Close enough that the atmosphere around your life shifted without you noticing. Close enough that the resistance you once felt began to break apart in pieces. And as he stood, he issued a warning. Not to threaten you, not to frighten you, but to anchor you. For whenever heaven releases something precious, the enemy looks for a way to steal it. Michael's first warning is this: guard your spirit in the days that follow. After this message reaches the depths of your soul, distractions will rise again. Not the gentle ones from before, but sharper ones, carefully designed to pull your heart away from what heaven is revealing. Old habits may try to return. Old fears may try to whisper again. Old insecurities may knock at the door of your mind. But hear me clearly, beloved. These are remnants of battles already lost. They rise not because they have power, but because they fear what will happen once you fully receive what heaven is giving you. Michael warns you, so you will not misinterpret these attempts. Do not take them as signs of backsliding. Do not see them as signs of weakness. See them for what they are: the enemy's final and futile attempts to keep you from stepping into your next phase. Michael's second warning concerns your identity. He speaks strongly to your spirit, saying that you must stop viewing yourself through the lens of past wounds. Heaven does not speak to your failures. Heaven speaks to your calling. And Michael declares that you are stepping into a season where the way you see yourself must elevate. You cannot walk into the next chapter with an old image of who you used to be. He warns that doubt will try to cling to you, not because you are weak, but because your identity is rising and the enemy fears what a confident, awakened, spiritually aware version of you can accomplish. But my beloved child, with the warning also comes the blessing. And the blessing Michael carries is fierce, powerful, and utterly unshakable. He places over you a covering of divine protection that does not rest lightly. It guards your mind. It guards your path. It guards your spirit. This covering is not temporary. It is not fragile. It is not conditional. It is a declaration in the unseen realm that you belong to God and that heaven has vested interest in your journey. Michael's blessing also includes clarity. He announces that in the days ahead, you will begin to sense guidance in moments that once felt confusing. You will feel nudges in your decisions, quiet confirmations in your thoughts, and a new sharpness in your spiritual senses. This is part of the blessing of revelation. When heaven gives a message, heaven also gives the ability to understand the steps that follow. There is more, beloved. Michael speaks of strength. Not strength in your body alone, but strength in your inner man. Strength that allows you to stand taller, to breathe deeper, to walk with confidence, to rise above patterns that once held you captive. He blesses you with spiritual stamina, the ability to keep going even when the path is unfamiliar. This strength will not come from your willpower. It will come from the presence of God working within you. And Michael's final blessing is one of alignment. He declares that certain things in your life that have been scattered, delayed, or disordered will begin to find their rightful place. Relationships that must remain will strengthen. Paths that must open will open. Doors that are meant to close will close without struggle. The blessing of alignment is one of the clearest signs that heaven has stepped into your season. My beloved child, hear this with every part of your spirit. Heaven is not only speaking to you today. Heaven is preparing you. What Michael has released over you is meant to carry you into the next part of this divine unveiling. These warnings protect you. These blessings empower you. And together, they form the foundation for what comes next. My beloved child, come close once more, for what I am about to speak is the bridge between revelation and transformation. A message fought for, a message escorted by heaven, a message sealed by Michael, is not meant to simply be heard. It is meant to be acted upon. It is meant to plant itself deep in your spirit, to reshape the way you walk, to influence the way you think, and to redirect the choices you make. Heaven does not release a word like this without expecting a response from the one who receives it. And now, my child, heaven looks to you. The first thing you must do after hearing this message is to quiet your heart and allow the words to settle. Do not rush away from this moment. Do not let life pull you back into noise too quickly. You are standing on holy ground, and holy ground requires stillness. There is a stirring happening within you, a rearranging, a holy movement. Let it finish its work. Sit with the message. Let its truth echo within you until it becomes part of your spirit rather than merely passing through your ears. Second, You must practice watchfulness. Michael's warning was clear. Distractions will attempt to return. Old patterns may try to resurface. But now that you are aware, now that you understand the nature of these distractions, you must guard your atmosphere. Guard your thoughts. Guard the words you speak. Guard the energy you allow into your life. You are stepping into a spiritually significant season, and seasons of significance demand intentionality. Watchfulness is not fear. It is wisdom. It is awareness. It is readiness to stand firm. The third thing you must do is begin to speak differently. My child, heaven has spoken over you, but you must echo that word. Words shape reality. They strengthen faith. They reinforce revelation. You cannot speak the language of your past while expecting to walk into your future. Speak life over yourself. Speak clarity over your decisions. Speak strength over your steps. Speak identity over your spirit. Let your mouth align with what heaven has released. Next, you must release what no longer belongs in your life. There are habits, relationships, fears, and memories that have acted as weights on your spirit, slowing your progress, clouding your clarity, and dimming your fire. As this message continues to work within you, these things will begin to feel heavy. Trust that sensation. It is the Holy Spirit revealing what must go. Release without guilt. Release without hesitation. Release without fear. What is not aligned with your destiny cannot travel with you into your next chapter. You must also begin to listen for guidance in simple moments. You will feel it now more than before. A quiet nudge when you stand still. A sense of peace when you think of a certain decision. A sudden discomfort around something that once felt familiar. These are not coincidences. This is part of the blessing Michael placed upon you. Heaven is guiding you subtly, gently, yet consistently. Pay attention. Honor the whispers. Trust the small shifts. They will lead you toward the path ordained for you. Another step you must take is to cultivate courage. This message is preparing you for movement. It is calling you out of hiding. It is calling you beyond fear. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move even when fear attempts to whisper. Courage will be required of you in the coming days. Not dramatic courage, but steady courage. The courage to say no. The courage to say yes. The courage to walk away. The courage to step forward. The courage to trust again. Heaven is strengthening your spirit for this. My beloved child, you must also nurture your connection with God intentionally. What has been released over your life today is not a momentary spark. It is the beginning of a deeper walk. Spend time with God, even in small ways. Speak to Him in your thoughts. Invite Him into your decisions. Allow Him to sit with you in silence. Heaven responds powerfully to simple, sincere devotion. This is how you keep your spirit aligned. Finally, you must hold this message with reverence. You must treat it as something sacred, because it is. It was fought for. It was delivered through resistance. It was released at a divine moment. Carry it carefully. Reflect on it again and again. Let it guide you. Let it teach you. Let it stretch you. Let it become the lens through which you see the next season of your life. My beloved child, heaven has begun a work in you. And what heaven begins, heaven completes. The steps you take after this message are not steps you take alone. You are accompanied. You are guided. You are protected. You are strengthened. My beloved child, let your heart open wide now, for what I am about to speak carries the warmth of divine assurance. Every revelation from heaven carries a promise. Every instruction carries a blessing, and every battle fought for your sake carries a reward. This message was not released to you simply to awaken your spirit or guide your steps, but to declare something heaven has been waiting for you to hear. There is a promise attached to this divine encounter, and you must receive it with the fullness of your being. My child, from the moment God said, "Let them see it now," heaven positioned itself to pour something into your life. Not a vague hope, not a temporary comfort, but a firm, established promise that has already begun unfolding even as you listen. Heaven does not send a message through Michael unless there is gain on the other side. And today, heaven speaks this promise over you. You will not walk into your next season empty-handed. The first part of this promise is restoration. There are areas of your life that have felt stripped, weakened, drained, or diminished. You have carried losses that were never fully spoken about. You have felt disappointments that lingered longer than they should have. You have watched certain things fade, leaving you wondering if you would ever regain what was taken from you. Heaven declares that the season ahead will bring restoration, not in fragments, not in small measures, but in fullness. What was delayed will be delivered. What was broken will be mended. What was lost will be replaced with something greater. The second part of this promise is clarity. For too long, you have walked through seasons where your vision felt blurred. Decisions felt heavy. Paths felt uncertain. You questioned yourself, questioned your steps, questioned your direction, and at times even questioned your worthiness. Heaven now promises to bring clarity where there was confusion. You will begin to understand things that once made no sense. You will see purpose in places where you once saw only pain. You will recognize doors that are meant for you, and you will no longer wander in circles. Clarity is coming, and it will settle over you like calm water after a storm. The third part of the promise is inner strength. Not the kind you forge alone, but the kind heaven breathes into you. You will rise with a confidence that did not come from motivational words or temporary emotion, but from divine awakening. Strength to say no to what diminishes you. Strength to pursue what is meant for you. Strength to stand firm, even when the path looks steep. Heaven promises to clothe you with a resilience you have not known before. You will see it in moments when you face challenges and realize you no longer respond with fear, but with authority. There is also a promise of protection. Michael did not come to deliver a message and leave. He came to seal a covering over your life. You may not see it, but you will feel it in moments when danger passes by without touching you, when decisions that could have harmed you are avoided, when chaos rises around you, but cannot enter your space. The protection assigned to you is not temporary. It is covenantal. It is purposeful. It is the kind of protection given to those who are stepping into a season of divine assignment. Another part of the promise is alignment. Heaven promises that the misaligned pieces of your life, relationships, opportunities, finances, timing, direction, will begin to shift into order. You will no longer feel scattered or stretched in 100 directions. The unnecessary noise will fade. The distractions will loosen. The people meant for your next chapter will begin to appear, and those not meant to stay will naturally drift away. Alignment brings peace, and heaven promises that you will walk in that peace. But my beloved child, the most profound promise of all is this: you will not miss what God has ordained for you. The enemy tried to block this message because it feared you stepping into your ordained path. But heaven fought harder. And the moment the message reached you, the path before you began to illuminate. You will not miss what belongs to you. You will not lose what heaven has marked with your name. You will not be bypassed, overlooked, or forgotten. The promise of heaven is that your destiny is secure. As you continue listening, as this message settles deeper into your spirit, the promise becomes more than words. It becomes a living force in your life. Heaven is not only speaking over you, heaven is moving for you. My beloved child, as we come to the final breath of this divine journey, let your spirit rest in the truth that has been unfolding before you. Every word you have heard, every stirring you have felt, every clarity that has begun to form within you has led to this single, profound revelation. You were chosen, not by accident, not by coincidence, not by human effort. You were chosen by heaven long before this moment arrived. My child, let me tell you with the tenderness of a father, with the solemnity of a prophet, and with the warmth of one who has watched over your journey. God has seen you. He has seen the nights you endured without answers. He has seen the battles you fought in silence. He has seen the weight you carried quietly while others believed you were strong. Heaven has watched the chapters of your life unfold, and through every moment, whether painful or peaceful, you remained in the center of God's attention. This message was not sent because you were lost, but because you were ready. You stepped into a moment where heaven's timing and your spirit aligned, forming a doorway for divine revelation. And through that doorway, this message was delivered, not lightly, not casually, not generally, but personally. This is why the resistance was fierce. This is why darkness tried to prevent its arrival. This is why the journey of this message was long. Heaven was preparing you for a revelation that would settle deeply into your soul and speak a truth you needed to hear. You were chosen. And not simply chosen to hear this word, but chosen to carry something forward. Chosen to rise above cycles that once held you. Chosen to walk with clarity where confusion once dominated. Chosen to stand where you once stumbled. Chosen to shine in places where heaviness once dimmed your light. Heaven has marked you for a new season, and this message is the signpost that announces the beginning of it. You may wonder why heaven fought so fiercely for you. You may wonder why angels moved, why barriers broke, why timing shifted. The reason is simple, my beloved child. There is something ahead of you that requires the awakening that has begun here. There is purpose that has been waiting. There is destiny that has been forming. There is a storyline heaven has been writing, and now you are stepping into the chapter where everything begins to make sense. Allow this final truth to settle into you like warm oil upon the spirit. Nothing about your journey has been wasted. Not the mistakes. Not the delays. Not the heartbreaks. Not the detours. Not the questions. All of it has been used to shape a vessel capable of carrying the revelation you now hold. Heaven chose you because heaven prepared you. You have been molded through experiences you did not understand. But now, as you stand on the threshold of what comes next, you will see the wisdom of every season. My beloved child, as you step forward from this message, step forward with the assurance that you are not walking alone. The same heaven that fought for this word fights for your future. The same God who declared, "Let them see it now," is the God who walks beside you beyond this moment. The same Archangel Michael who escorted this message remains assigned to your protection. You are covered. You are guided. You are strengthened. And now, as we conclude this journey together, let me speak one final, gentle encouragement into your heart. When heaven entrusts you with revelation, it also entrusts you with responsibility. This message is not merely for hearing, it is for living, for carrying, and yes, for sharing. If your spirit has been stirred, if your heart has been lifted, if clarity has come, do not keep the flame hidden. Let the same light that touched you touch someone else. Let the same message that awakened you awaken another. When you respond, when you engage, when you share, you become part of the divine ripple heaven intended. Treat it not as a task, but as an honor, a sacred duty to let God's light travel beyond you. You are chosen to hear this message, and someone is waiting to hear it through you. My beloved child, this is the final seal, the closing breath of heaven over this word. Carry it with reverence. Walk with it in confidence. Guard it with care. Let it guide your steps, strengthen your heart, and lift your spirit. And now, may every word spoken today rest upon your life with divine permanence. Amen.